Hi, everyone. Welcome to Entrepreneurship by Design with Dr. C. I'm so glad you're here today because I have such a beautiful soul with me, Luisa. Luisa empowers service-based women entrepreneurs to activate thriving businesses so they can make the money they desire and impact millions. She helps them gain mindset, motion set, business structure, and leadership skills to accelerate to six figures with ease. She's been an entrepreneur for over 25 years. She's a growth mindset and business coach, an international speaker, published author, and has founded over 10 businesses globally so far. And thank you so much for being here today, Luisa. It's such an honor to have you. And I would love for you to really just dive into your journey, how you got here today, and then we'll go a little bit deeper.
Hi, Caroline. Thanks for having me. Hi, all. Such a pleasure to be here. So the day that we are recording this is my birthday. So Today is a special day for me.
Very special.
Yes. So I guess you would like to know where I come from, where I am, and where I'm going.
Yes.
Today, I'm turning 54. So it has been a long journey, especially because exactly half of it, 27 years ago, I started my journey as an entrepreneur. And I'm originally from Italy. I live on an island in the Mediterranean Sea. And I have lived abroad in different ways in Europe. And so I have founded more than 10 businesses so far globally. So from very different industries, from real estate to hospitality, to music production, to the coaching industry, different kind of niches in the coaching industry. So it has been really an exciting journey. And what excites me the most is that every time that I talk to someone, I had so many experiences that I can always relate to anything that they can tell me. Because at the end of the day, when you are an entrepreneur, you have patterns, you have habits, you have cycles in the entrepreneurial experience itself. And so it is so easy to relate to other people's story, and also to help them. And when I'm not able to help them because it might not be my best talent or gift, of course, I have a very extensive network of people I can refer them to, and I'm super happy to do that.
Yes. And I love that you have such a diverse background too, because it's not just one business that you started over 10 or 10.
Over 10. Yeah.
And that's just amazing too. And I'm so curious because I know it didn't just start overnight, but what was that initial drive to even start your first business?
I wanted to spend as much time as possible with my daughter, basically. She's 27 years old, 26 actually. And when I started my entrepreneurial journey, I was pregnant, and I wanted to spend the time with her as much as I could. And so I have always been a very hard worker and very dedicated. And so I knew that if I was keep going with the kind of rhythm that I was having in the corporate world, I would have regret something in the future. And I prefer to risk something than regret something. And so I think that this is also part of an entrepreneurial mindset.
It absolutely is. And I love that you were able to be there for your daughter. And because a lot of people in corporate, it can be really challenging, just the stories I've heard, and being able to create a life that you can create your own design. And when you started your business, what were those initial steps that you took to start that first business? And what was that first business that you started?
It was in the music production industry. Mm-hmm. And the reason why it was that was because my now ex-husband, who was my ex-husband and who is the father of my daughter, was a music publisher. I'm saying was because then he changed his career as well. And so he's still alive. As far as I know, he's still alive. And so we wanted to create something a little bit different than the classical music publishing company that he had. And so we created that is a very, I would say, one of a kind business that was a way to connect musicians and singers to the major publishing companies. Because we had a lot of network on one side, a lot of network on the other side. And so we created this company. And it was an absolute mess. And it was an absolute failure.
Oh,
yeah. yeah, absolutely. 3 years of hell. Yes.
And you survived, though. You survived.
I did survive, and I learned a lot.
I'm sure. And what did you learn in those 3 years? Because that's a lot of just like, I know you said you already had a network on different sides and like working with your now ex-husband, but what was that process like when you were starting to build it? Like it felt messy, but what did that really look like?
Because I was personally, I can just tell you what was going on for me, not for him.
Right.
Actually, it was him and my sister-in-law. So we were the three of us. And the point is that I had not at all the awareness of what I was doing. It was just, I was very, very naive to the point that I didn't realize what I was going through. And that I didn't understood that I had responsibilities as a business owner. And so the point is that we didn't ask for help. We didn't know we could ask for help. And the culture that we were coming from was not supportive in respect of that. So we had a huge network of publishing companies. We had a huge network of musicians and singers. But what we didn't have was a mentor, was someone telling us the same question that you are asking me. So what are the steps that you should take in order to succeed, in order to get things done? So we had no clue, absolutely no clue of what we were doing. And so, yeah.
So, because I think I know for me personally, I had no idea what I was doing when I started my first business almost 6 years ago now, but with everything that you had endured and started, and then I know you've had so many businesses since, what did that look like after the music business? How long did that last? What'd you do next?
The first one lasted 3 years, and then we closed it. When we ran out of money, we closed it. It was that simple. It was that simple. So we did that, and then I paused for a while, and I took 1 year off, and I was I was mourning because for me it was really kind of something similar to grief, I would say. The death of a living entity, and I was really feeling also the sorrow of this business for not having been able to communicate with us. And I'm speaking this kind of language that I don't know if your audience is familiar with, because today I help my clients to speak to their businesses, to talk to their businesses, to co-create with their businesses, to consider the business part of their family, part of their network, part of their community. So as if it was what it actually is, a living entity, that it is of course also a legal entity, but it is also an energetically living entity, and it gives you a lot of hints and a lot of tips, and it really can communicate with you if you know how to communicate and how to listen to it, and what kind of powerful questions ask the business. So I had, of course, no clue about all of those things. But again, I wanted to take 1 year off, and I wanted to go back to myself and to listen to myself and to understand better what was something that I had close to my heart and that I wanted to go for. And so I did. Yeah.
And, you brought something up because I know it was the 3 years that you were building that business, and that was, you had left your corporate job, you were pregnant. And then once you had your daughter too, how did that all like go into the mix of building your business while having a newborn and then eventually a toddler in that whole process? What was that like for you?
I had to say that I'm a very resourceful person, but I don't know if it is just that. I know that when I am in an environment where I have certain kind of things set up in terms of values, for instance, such as the possibility to express myself fully, the possibility to work whenever I want and how long I want, and and with whom I want, then I can really thrive in terms of creativity, in terms of performance, in terms of productivity. And so I wasn't a perfect environment in order to be able to give the best in terms of what I could do, and in relationship to what I knew that I could do. Of course, all the other things that I didn't know were the part where the failure came in. Yeah.
And so I appreciate you sharing that too, because I think it is being resourceful. I'm not a parent yet myself, but just hearing from so many mompreneurs and people that are in that phase of motherhood and building their business, of young children in particular, because that can be really challenging, just hearing from what it's like to be a parent, which I don't know yet. So
it might also be that my daughter was really cooperative. I don't know. I mean, my experience as a parent has been such a blessing. So I can't say that I had any kind of challenge, never in any kind of phase of her, growing up. Just one small thing that, it was not, of course, something that that was, how can I say that? So basically, when she was 14 years old, her father, we were already separated and also divorced. He was remarried, and she chose to move with him to Dominican Republic because he wanted to move there to have a different kind of entrepreneurial experience and also of lifestyle. And that was the only thing that broke my heart. The fact that she moved so far away. We are talking about almost 14 years ago. So the natural communication that we have with Zoom or with all other, kind of platform that we use today, especially after COVID, was not even a thing. So we were talking to each other maybe once every 2 weeks on Skype. The connection was not so good. It was not so fast. Yeah. So and then speaking from my let's say from the human side and not from the business side of me, I was so scared that I could lose my being a mom, basically. I could lose the fact that I could not give her my presence and be there for her. I mean, she was in good hands because she was with the stepmom. But even if she was in good hands, she was with another mom. She was not with me, and she suffered a lot for that. But it was her choice, and so I totally wanted to respect that. And I'm also mentioning that because this was one of the few things that after that first business that went in that way, that was one of the few things that really stopped me for a while because of the pain that I was feeling. I couldn't concentrate on my business. And again, I took a few months off because I really couldn't concentrate. I was so in grief again. And so this is another part of the story, just to give you the whole picture. So I didn't have any kind of challenge in bringing her up. I just had this thing that happened and that I wanted to respect fully, even if it was so painful for me. And then later on, we found out it was painful for her as well, even if the situation was amazing because she learned a lot. She has an amazing experience abroad. But then, that was painful.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that because I'm sure that's going to resonate with people listening as well, of just how grief looks a little different for everybody, but also how things can be so painful, but giving yourself that time and space to heal, because I don't think it ever goes away. You just learn how to cope better with that pain. And I really do appreciate you being so vulnerable and transparent of your experience, because I do think it's a huge part of your story. But being able to understand too where the motivation comes from, where the things that you've been able to build and build upon as well, because I know you really work with women entrepreneurs in particular, and just being able to help them with their service-based businesses and grow that. But I think family, like what you were saying earlier too, how you talk to your business, and that really ties into those relationships that we create and we have, and the powerful relationship with your daughter, and being able to really have that communication. And now communication technology-wise has gotten much better over the years, but it was a little different 14 years ago or so. I remember Skype and dial-up and all the other things that we've had to endure. We've come a long way.
Wow, so fast. Now everything is so fast and so beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. And with building your businesses and everything that has occurred, I'm curious, because once you started getting into, I know you mentioned real estate and other types of businesses, what did that look like after, I'd say 14 years ago till now? What were those steps you took to start building more businesses? How did you go about that? Because I mean, that's such an amazing accomplishment, but what happened in between that?
Yeah, what happened is that, so basically 20 years ago, I started working in the coaching industry. And I started as a nutrition and life coach. And then after a few years, I moved again in the corporate world, but from an outsider point of view. So I was the one serving them. And I have worked with Fortune 500 companies. I have worked with big organizations and pharmaceutical companies, banks, a lot of different companies, the fashion industry, a lot of them, consulting companies, and so on and so forth. And what happened there is that I learned. So I went through a short phase where I was a freelancer more than, I had a company, so technically I was still an entrepreneur, but actually I was almost working as a freelancer. So the kind of service that I was giving my clients was more of a freelance. And at a certain point, I realized that I couldn't do all by myself, and so I needed to ask for help. And so I started to look around, and the first thing that I chose to do was not to have an assistant, because the kind of work that I was doing was something that I could deal with, but I had too many clients, and so I needed to have someone else who could help me with the delivery. And so I duplicated myself to some extent, if I can say so. So I started working with other colleagues, and so we had a very interesting and growing company, and that was based in the UK, and so it was not in Italy. And so we grew, and that was really amazing. And then of course we had assistants and so on and so forth. So what I learned very early was that I needed help, and not just because of the sake of having help, because of course you can't do all the things by yourself, but also because working with a team for me is a huge thing. It's an amazing gift, and I love so much to be able to to co-create. And this is the second time that I pronounce this this word, And so I really like to co-create with people and to have a shared leadership. Mm-hmm. So I think that this is something that every entrepreneur should keep in mind when they want to scale. No matter where they are, the first thing that they should think about is how they want to create a business model that can scale. Because actually you can just scale basically in two ways. You can scale because you duplicate yourself, and so there are other people who do the same things that you do. The other option is that you have, an online business, for instance, and then you deliver things with online courses, and so you have the technology that delivers for you. But especially if you are a service-based entrepreneur, you absolutely need to think at the very early stage of your business how you envision your success. Otherwise, it is like not having a vision, and so just hoping that the next step is the one that takes you where. So this is the point, So I remember that when I was learning how to drive the car, my fiance told me that I had to look far, not too far, but I had to look enough far. So that not just where the car was, where was ending, but far. Otherwise it was very dangerous because I could crash against everything. And he was noticing that I was, just I just wanted to know. I was curious where the car was ending, but it was not the point. And so this is a good metaphor, in my opinion, to use, because when we are building a business, we can be scared of all the things, and this is perfectly fine. I really wanted to to normalize being scared and having fears, because they are just an amazing fuel for become even more resourceful, to grow, to understand things better, and to make powerful choices. So welcome to fear, welcome to being scared. The point is that if we just rely on on being scared and not and having fears and so on and so forth, we can just do one step at a time and not having the vision. What we should do is to create the vision that also implies the lifestyle that we want to live. This is very, very important, because it happens a lot of times that I work with business owners who are already earning multiple six figures, and they are in such a frustration and disappointment and dissatisfaction because their lifestyle is awful. They couldn't envision having such a huge success financially and business-wise, and being such a mess with a lifestyle. So I think that we are, before being entrepreneurs, we are human beings. So we should have a life before having a business. Okay, and the business should be a consequence, hopefully also an amazing consequence, a gorgeous consequence of who we are as human beings. So as human beings, we should have a project, a life project. So this is the first thing that we want to have. First, a life project, then a business project, if we want to have one. And third, we should surrender to the day by day and do the first step. and then the second step after the first one, and then the third after the second, and so on and so forth. But having a compelling vision, it's an amazing thing, because it really, works as a magnet. It really pulls you. And when you are the creator of your vision, of course, your future you is the one who is pulling you. Does it make sense?
Yes, no, perfectly. And I just love how you really captured that vision. And I was really following too, starting with the car example, like being able to see ahead. And I just could visualize that as well. And I love what you said about the component of being able to create your life first as like the first entity, then your business, because you're right. So many people that I've encountered where their health is in question is because they haven't really been taking care of their health and their lifestyle, because they've been so focused on building their business. But I think it's that entity of being able to take it one step at a time to continue to build, like what you were mentioning, because it can be so overwhelming, and then fear can set in and doubt can set in. Because you're like, well, I can't do this. In reality, it's just you've taken on too much. It's looking at, okay, what do I need to do right now that's going to propel the business forward, but I'm also not neglecting my whole lifestyle as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you mentioned health, and I actually have a chronic illness and other kind of, things that I have to keep in mind every time I make a choice. For instance, I am dyslexic, so my chronic illness is fibromyalgia. So there are days where I am on the sofa, and there are days where I can afford everything with my energy. And but I learned how to live with that, and hopefully with the techniques that I have used for years, that are energy techniques, I have been able to to have a lifestyle again that allows me to live happily and in a fulfilled way. So you also have to keep into account your I would say your borders, because at the end of the day, things that we could have, like chronic illnesses or other illnesses that come in the way, are borders, and that you have to deal with, and they are information borders, whatever we want to call them. And so again, we were talking about communication earlier, and we have to be mindful of what kind of communication is going on with us and things that happen in our life, and also in our business, that again is part of our life and not the other way around.
Yes. And I would love for you to speak more to that, because I had never heard it in the way you mentioned it too, like speaking to your business and that communication factor. I think that's something that I'm intrigued by it, but how do you go about that? What does that look like for people that are starting out or even in the midst of their business?
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that applies to anyone. I have started this when I was working with CEOs and leaders in corporations, and what I've noticed is that they had amazing skills, especially technical skills, but in terms of leadership, and that was what I was helping with, because I have been a leadership coach for 15 years. So what I was helping them, I was helping them with leadership and also with communication. That is, the main thing that leadership is about. It's basically communication.
Right.
And so they were basically communicating in a way that was not affecting, that was not effective with their teams. And that was one of the reasons they were not performing enough well, or they were not having enough flexibility or creativity or emotional intelligence, whatever the skill they needed to develop was. So what happened was that I realized that then when we are entrepreneurs, especially when we have a small business, we might not have that huge team. Sometimes we just might have one or two people on our team, and that could be enough, even if you have a multi-million-dollar company. So I have friends and I have clients who have companies who makes the million, who make that make the millions, and they do not have a huge team. Okay, and so the point is that we forget that the business is part of the team, and that's one of the things that we should remember.
Yeah.
I don't know if you are familiar that in the UK culture, you make tea and you use also one teaspoon for each person, and then you add 1 teaspoon for the teapot.
Oh,
it is exactly the same thing with the business. You have to remember that the business is part of the team, so you also have to nurture the business, not just the team members and not just you. So we want I come from a systemic mindset. So this means that I see patterns and systems everywhere I look. So this means that for me, the system, again, is an entity. As an entity has its own ways of doing things, its own targets, its own goals, its own hidden agendas, its own wishes. It is so amazing when you start talking to the business. And how you do that? You were asking questions. You ask specific questions, and for instance, one of the questions that I ask frequently to my business is, business, what can I do for you today? This is a very simple question, but this is a question that first lowers the amount of ego that I can put into the business. Okay, I'm here and I do whatever. No, sometimes you also have to listen to to signals. Okay, and to also to interpret messages. So there are some powerful questions that you can ask the business. It depends what kind of challenge you are going through in that moment. And so you craft the question in a way that is really powerful. And it also, those powerful questions also allow the mind to follow the question and look for an answer to the question, because at the end of the day, I probably didn't say what I am, but anyway, I am a growth mindset and business coach. So the point here is that when I work, of course, we can do strategy, but if we do not have the mindset, we can go to bed or we can go to the beach. I live close to the beach, so and do nothing, because if we do not have the mindset, we do not really have anything. So the point here is that to give the mindset things to think about that we want our mindset to think about. So one of the specific ways of working of the mindset is that of the mind, more of the mindset, is that the mind is always looking for answers, And this is the reason why we are always looking for answers. So we are doing that every time we are not in ourselves. When we are in our mind, we are looking for answers. But the point here is that we need to ask questions, not looking for answers. So when we ask powerful questions, are the answers come to us, or the events come to us, the opportunities come to us, and so we can say yes or we can say no, because we have the vision and we have the values, and we know, we know what to choose at that point. And if we do not know what to choose, then we ask a question. So it is that simple. Once you know how it works, it is very, very easy to do.
Yes, this is so cool, because I just, even coming from like a marriage and family therapy background of the systems, looking at things as a system, I definitely can relate to that, and being able to ask the questions, because you're right, the mind will want answers. And I know I've been there every once in a while. maybe more sometimes than not in certain areas and certain obstacles that I have to face. But I love that you really focus in on the mindset and growth, because that's where I think shifts can happen and changes can happen when we're asking those questions versus like thinking all these things. And like you said, you could either go to the beach or go somewhere else and not really be focused in. But once we ask those powerful questions, the answers start to come because we're asking the right questions that are right for us in that moment. And of course, the more powerful the question, the more you will feel more settled and going back into yourself, because that's where I think everything does happen. We have all the answers within, but then we start thinking and it just goes on this tangent sometimes. And we're like, got to bring it back and understand of where that energy is going to be going.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of energy, the question itself has an energy of breaking a pattern. Okay. So every time we are going in circles and we are, like the dog biting its own tail, then it's so simple. We just need to ask ourselves a powerful question. That could just be, what is it? If you are going around and you ask yourself, what is it? You immediately stop the pattern. You immediately break what is going on. This interruption gives you the space and time to become present and again get the position of the observer, and so not be caught up in emotions or overthinking or all the things that at the end of the day really drain our energy so much.
Mm-hmm. No, you're spot on with the energy piece, because it's breaking that pattern. Because when you're able to put a halt on it of understanding, okay, what is it? It's something so simple, but so powerful. It doesn't have to be this complex question, but just really getting to the meat of it. Okay, what is it? And stopping yourself in those tracks. And I'm so curious, because I know you've done so many things, but in particular, we were talking earlier before we started recording about your digital course, and I would love to hear more about that and everyone else to hear.
Yeah. So I have an amazing community on Facebook that is called the Wealthier Women Entrepreneurs. And before leading this community, I had other communities and so on and so forth. And so I like very much to have a closer relationship with people who are, gravitating in my world. And because I am here to serve. And so I really would like to know what I can help people with and not the other way around. And so I have been asking them for the past 3 months, what was the point of me serving them, and what was really something that they could need in order to develop their businesses. And out of, we are almost 2,500 people in the community. And out of all of them, I could talk to 300 women. And they told me, let's say 75% of them, maybe a little bit more, maybe 80%, they told me that they needed to know how to get qualified leads. Mm-hmm. And so the other 2 questions that I asked them is if they needed help with growing their Facebook group, and if they needed help with accelerating to 6 figures. But not all of them are already in the position to think about accelerating to 6 figures, so they might need something different. But whether you are already there or not, or whether you are doing already, the 6 figures or whatever, getting leads is at the end of the day the fuel. Leads are the fuel that becomes clients. So I mean, it's how things work, And so we created this amazing course. It is a standalone course, and it is called Get Qualified Leads Now. So it is very, very straightforward. I like fanciness inside of the course, but not outside. Outside, I really like to say things as they are. So for instance, we have another digital product that is called Your Fabulous Niche. And it is what do you think could be about finding your niche? Okay.
I love it.
Yes, yes, yes. And then we have another one that is called the Powerful Abundance Activator. What is it? It's an activator for abundance. So it's very easy. Yeah.
Straight to
And
the
so
point.
yeah, absolutely. So then the Jew is inside, of course. And then we created this amazing course. It's a video course. And and so it has videos, it has step-by-step guides, it has cheat sheets, it has PDFs, it has all the things that you might need. And we are launching it right now. Well, after tomorrow will be the last day, and the launch went very, very well. We are so happy. We had an amazing month. And so, yes, we are super happy for that. I hope it can become soon, maybe in a couple of months. I hope it can become more of a group coaching thing where I can also put some of my expertise, in-person expertise, and not just the standalone course. But even the standalone course is self-sufficient. So it is just amazing as it is.
Well, I'm so excited for you. And I love all the courses that you do have, but the standalone one itself, just getting qualified leads, because I know a lot of people struggle with getting clients from what I've heard, especially in the beginning, maybe not in the midst of it and once you get the hang of it, but I think it's just being able to identify your niche and then being able to get those leads that you're going to be able to serve as well. So I'm so glad you created this, and I'm so excited to see this expand and become a group coaching program and so much more to come as well. And just so talking about clients in particular, I would love to know just one or two client success stories if you could share with us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the first one that comes to mind, she is a coach as well, same as me, and she's a focus coach. So she is focused on helping people gain focus and momentum. And when we started working together, she was in a place where she was actually not getting clients, and she was kind of discouraged also because she had so many ideas, and she's a gorgeous person and very resourceful as well, with a very, very bright intelligence and smart. And so she really, really wanted to get to the point that she could have, the famous consistent flow of clients. And so what we did together was we probably worked 90% just on her mindset. We didn't do much in terms of energy. Again, this depends, because sometimes there are people who are a little bit not so skilled with this strategy thing, but she had this already. And so we came to the point where she was, when we stopped working together, she was making 8K a month, and she was super happy because of that. And so I recently talked to her, and she is over 10. So she is super happy, and so the thing that we did was that we were seeing each other once every 2 weeks, and we were working on what was going on. And so and so when you're working with the right person, I'm not that kind of coach who tells everyone that you have to have a coach or that you have to have a mentor. I know that it could be stupid or silly on my side not to advise on that, but I think that everyone should choose whatever they want. And the only thing is that if you do not seek for advice, you just take it just takes long, and if it takes too long, you might lose momentum. You might have to deal with a very expensive hobby and not a business. You might also get to the point that you lose self-confidence, and this is very, very bad. This is the worst that can happen. So I would advise people to get a helper, to have a coach, to have a mentor, to be in a community, whatever they want, to have an accountability buddy, whatever, But I strongly suggest people to have that. If they do not want, it's totally fine. They can do whatever, and they can be successful. Just success could take a little bit longer. So I prefer to accelerate things in an organic way than just to go against a wall and then against another wall and then against the furniture and so on and so forth. But anyway. And another success story is a guy, he's super young. When we started working together a year and a half ago, he was 22 years old, and he was, he's probably the youngest client that I have ever had. Mm-hmm. And I was so impressed by his vision and also his openness in listening to himself and to let go of what was getting in the way. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is also because he's so young, and he was really trusting himself, the process, the choice of choosing me, and all the things that we have done together. Mm-hmm. And again, probably with him, I did probably 75% of times mindset, and the rest was strategy. And he's a marketing specialist. Mm-hmm. So it was amazing. In 6 months, he went to 10K, and he's doing so well. He's having an amazing success. Then he moved abroad. He is from Italy. Then he moved abroad because he really wanted to expand his lifestyle. So yes, it was very, very beautiful to work with both of them. Yeah.
Oh, and I'm sure you have so many more of those stories, and I just appreciate you sharing both of those. And I love what you said too about when you were talking about the first client, that just getting support, asking for help, because I know like when your first business, you guys did not ask for help, and that was a struggle, but being able to learn from that and grow from that, because I do think it will take you a little bit longer. You don't have to get help, but there is so much truth in that. It will take you longer. You can be successful, yes, but it will take you longer. There'll be more hurdles versus hiring somebody who's an expert or having a mentor or just reading or being a part of a community that's going to help you continue to grow. Because that's what it's about if you want to scale and grow a business.
Yeah, absolutely. Because of course, nowadays we have everything we want on YouTube, on everywhere on internet. But how long does it take to find exactly what you are looking for that is exactly nailed for your specific situation? Yeah. And I mean, being entrepreneurs means that we have to believe in ourselves first and foremost. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if we are not believing that we can do it and that asking for help will accelerate anything that is going on, mm-hmm. It can be really, really stressful at some point. Yeah.
No, I agree. I've been there. I didn't ask for help for a while, and it took me a lot longer than I wanted. So living proof. But I would love to know, what are maybe your top 2 or 3 tips for entrepreneurs on this journey? I know you've already given so much value and insight, but if you could just pick out like 2 or 3.
I think that I would go back to the questions. So to ask powerful questions. This is a skill that you can learn. You can easily learn this skill. So coming from the coaching world, of course, learning how to ask powerful questions inside the coaching session, the coaching environment is one thing, but learning how to ask powerful questions per se is something that you can learn in 2 hours. So it is something that you can learn very easily. And this is the first thing that I would suggest everyone to remember, that that we are people, we are beings who ask questions every time. And the quality of the questions that we ask ourselves makes the complete difference in the outcome that we will have. So this is something that we absolutely have to keep in mind, and not just because we are entrepreneurs, but for everything in our life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the first one. The second one is to have a community, a tribe, someone you can relate to, someone you can talk to, someone you can you can cry on the shoulder, someone who can who can mirror you and can tell you, what are you doing? Are you sure you're going the right way here? Or that's amazing. So you absolutely have to have that, because especially for service-based entrepreneurs, especially now that we are so much online, the loneliness is a true thing. It's not, something that happens to our neighbors. No. It happens to us as well. Okay. Yeah. And the third thing, I would say, to be kind to ourselves. Mm-hmm. And in order to do that, I would remind everyone to put yourself first. Put yourself first, because again, if you forget about yourself, if you do not give yourself permission to be kind to yourself, at the end of the day, especially when you're still a small business, especially in service-based business, your business is the projection of who you are. And so if you are not happy, if you are not engaged with things that are going on, this goes out, and energetically you are not attracting the best that you could if you were, on a different frequency, I would say. So of more joy, of more enthusiasm, making projects. This is the kind of abundance, this is the kind of energy that we would like to be. I'm not saying always, because this is humanly impossible. It's a target. This is the target.
And I love all of those tips, because I think they're all so powerful in their own right. And starting with the questions, being able to ask yourself those questions, your business those questions, really reframed it for me completely. It's like I told you earlier, I was like, I learned something from everybody. And I think that's like the key aspect, but also having a community, because you're right, it can be very lonely on this journey, and understanding people in your corner, whether you want to hear something or not. Sometimes you don't. If you're like me, I sometimes have to let it sit and simmer for a minute before I'm like, okay, you're right. But having people that really want to see you do well and thrive and be successful. And then also just being kind to yourself, because I always say, put yourself at the top of the priority list, because if you don't have your health, you can't do all these incredible things that you want to do, but it's really taking care of you first, so you have more to give. But those were all just so beautifully put, and I appreciate you coming on today. Where can people find you, use your services, everything that you're doing, and also knowing where to find the course? But I'll link everything below, but if you could let us know.
Thank you. Yes, I have a website, and it is my name and surname, so luisaferrario.com. And there you can find all the ways that you can work with me, and all the free resources that are amazing. And then you can find me online. I am on LinkedIn, and I am on Facebook, and the community is called Wealthier Women Entrepreneurs. It is also open to men. The important thing is that the vibe that we keep in the community is very high energy. So this is the only thing that I really ask to people who join the community, because I wanted to create a space that is, a magic place where people can go and hang out with other people and can find help, can also promote their services, because promo is free. But I want a quality place. Yeah.
Yes, quality is key. But thank you for this enlightening conversation and just sharing your beautiful journey with us, how you got here today. It's been such a pleasure having you on and just getting the insights from you, because I feel like there was a lot.
Yes, we covered so many things. Thank you so much for having me, and ciao, everybody.
Absolutely. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment below. What was the biggest takeaway from Luisa today? I'm sure she would love to see that comment, and we will see you on the next episode.